Because of all the questions with the Roundup Ready to Extend system, a lot of farmers are going Liberty Link soybeans as we move into 2019. So today we wanted to talk a little about how to best manage Liberty Link soybeans.
All right, first of all, we're not giving an endorsement here. It's not, oh boy, everybody should switch to Liberty. There's other systems that'll work just fine. But we want you, if you are going with Liberty Link soybeans or are considering it, there are a few keys here that you can do that'll make success that much easier for you to get. The first would be starting with a great pre-emerge herbicide program. Our 3-pre strategy, where we use 3 different modes of action pre-emerge, takes out a huge majority of the weeds. Now you don't have so many weeds to fight, and now Liberty can be much more effective.
Yep, one of our concerns with Liberty is it's just one mode of action, just like with Roundup. Only one mode of action. So if you've only got that and you say, well, you know what, I don't want to do a pre, what do you think is going to happen in a short amount of time if you do Liberty followed by Liberty? You don't have anything else out there controlling those weeds. So we'd really encourage you 3 pre-emerge herbicides, 3 different modes of action, then you're in good shape talking post going with Liberty.
Then of course variety selection. If you're switching from Extend or switching from Roundup or conventional to Liberty, you're dealing with new varieties to you. There are some really good varieties in Liberty Link. There are some high yielding varieties. There's some good defensive varieties too for those tough acres. Make sure you're doing a good job picking those varieties out and vet those varieties well. There's lots of yield data out there on Liberty Link soybean varieties.
Like we always say though, don't just plant 1 or 2. Plant several different varieties on your farm. Spread your risk a little bit, spread maturity a little bit, plant different varieties, some different genetics. That's usually a good idea.
All right, now let's talk about the weed control in crop. When we think about Liberty, that's why you're switching, right? You want to have that herbicide that you can spray, doesn't have a lot of volatility concerns or any of those types of things, but it is different. When you're putting Liberty out, it's a contact herbicide. It doesn't move down into the root system like Roundup can. So we need to use a little bit more water and a little smaller spray droplet to get better coverage.
Yeah, I actually really like using Liberty because it's kind of the way we always used to talk about herbicides, where we want small spray droplets, fantastic coverage, maybe a little bit more water. But if you do those things, that's what's going to make Liberty work. You don't have to worry so much about the drift and the off-target movement. It's not going to volatilize like dicamba or anything like that. So it's a kind of standard old herbicide that works phenomenally well if we get great coverage.
The other thing is the use rate with Liberty. Typically we'll use at least 32 ounces. You can go up to 43 ounces. And I know there's some differences depending on which crop you're in and what part of the country and so forth. But at 32 ounces, you've got a pretty nice rate of Liberty. It's going to control weeds up to 4 to 6 inches tall if you get out there and can get good coverage on them.
I love it though, Darren, that you said 4 to 6 inches tall, because if you let weeds get that big, you've already lost yield. So yes, we can get a few weeds that are that big, but don't let all your weeds get that tall. Kill them when they're an inch or 2 tall. Now you're going to have the best yield.
A lot of farmers who have used the Liberty Link system for a long time would say, well, I just mark it on my calendar, I plant the beans, 28 days later I'm coming back and spraying. Some farmers would say even 21 days later they're coming back and spraying the Liberty, and then mark the calendar again and come back with another timely application later with 2 shots of Liberty. You're going to normally do a pretty good job if you've got that good pre-emerge herbicide as well.
The great thing about Liberty is there's no cutoff date, so you don't have to worry about that. Yes, you're going to need to be done spraying by early flower, just like you would with a lot of other herbicides in soybeans, but still, you don't have to worry so much about the drift and off target movement like you do with some other herbicides. This is a great product, and currently there are no resistant weeds to Liberty.
The other thing to consider is you could add a tank mix partner. We've seen some really good results adding Flex Star with the Liberty. It gets pretty hot, but it really does work well on the weeds. And don't forget a volunteer corn herbicide. So many of the corn hybrids now have tolerance to Liberty and Roundup. Even if you're not planting those hybrids, your neighbors are, and there's pollen moving around. So you're going to have some plants in your field that may be resistant to Liberty. So make sure you're adding in that volunteer corn herbicide as well.
We're lucky today because there are a lot of great systems out there. We love Extend. We also love Liberty. You just have to manage the Liberty system a little bit differently than the other herbicide systems that you may have been used to in the past.
Hey, last comment I got, Brian, use ammonium sulfate with Liberty. You can't use it with Extend and the dicamba products, but 3 pounds per acre of ammonium sulfate with Liberty works awesome, and you don't need any surfactants. Liberty already has a full surfactant load in it.
Yep, so spray when the weather's warm and nice. When the weeds are small, use ammonium sulfate. Liberty's going to work great for you.
Well, one weed that it may not do the best job on is our weed of the week. We'll show you what will control it coming up next.